As a child, we all long for a hero. As a society as a whole, we search for that leader that can be our hero. But as we mature and as we grow, it dawned on us that the hero is inside every one of us. And in the world's social media, we all start at zero. And slowly we search deep within ourselves to find who we are. And we have that moment of truth where we embrace that the hero that we've been searching for has been there all along. It is living deep inside of every one of us. And we start embracing that journey and we become that hero that we search for.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 127 of Zero to Hero, presented by J29 Creative Group. We've got another awesome hero coming at you today. She is the general manager of Serendipity Labs and Overland Park. Her name is Lauren Stipp, and she definitely knows how to give you the room that you need to thrive as a business. So let's go ahead and bring her in. Lauren, how are you this morning?
Great. Thank you for having me, Gino. Thrilled to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. So before we really get into it, what is Serendipity Labs? What do you guys do? What do you have coming up?
Yeah, so Serendipity Labs, short version is we are an office and co-working and event space solution with a bunch of adjunct services that we can really just provide to support your business in any aspect that you're looking for, including IT, HR, really whatever you need.
Amazing. So talk to us a little bit about what that process looks like, as far as the membership coming into this space for the first time, maybe people that aren't familiar with co-working spaces. What does that look like?
Yeah, so we're kind of unique. There's a lot of co-working spaces out there. We're very, very different in our model and how we kind of work. Mainly in the essence of our main driver is actually hospitality. We want everything to feel like this is for you, that this is not just an officing solution, but this is the right solution for you to build a community, to have amenities that draw back the stress of your experience in your life and the cost of your business in total. We've had a lot of businesses come to us who had brick and mortars where they were paying millions of dollars a year. And we were able to provide them a solution that still took care of all of their employees, but drastically down. Our coffee is complimentary. We do fresh infused water that's complimentary. We provide reception, which is complimentary. We have meeting spaces and conference rooms for people. We have so many things that we get to include in everybody's membership. It really, like I said, just takes that stress off of the members' back to be able to focus truly exclusively on their business. So that's kind of where our niche is just making sure that this is not just a space that you come to work, but it provides everything that you need for your business to succeed and thrive.
I love it. Yeah, J29 actually started in an office space and then moved to a co-working space. And the big reason I think that the boss did that is he keeps saying, I didn't want to clean. I didn't want to stock the toilet paper, right? I didn't want to do all those extra things, right, that come along with not only being a business owner, but then having to run the space as well, right, and keep that space moving. So absolutely, it's hugely important and definitely a big stress reliever for sure. So Lauren, outside of Serendipity Labs, who is Lauren Stipp? Give us your elevator pitch. Who are you?
Yeah. So I have always been a very eclectic soul, in what feels like a lifetime ago. I was a music artist. I was a jazz singer for many years. I've worked for tax companies. I worked for the Lagunitas Brewing Company. I really have kind of liked to have my finger in a lot of different things, which has created me to be a person that's very keyed in on creative solutions. I am the gal for that. If you need something that no one else is able to figure out for you, I can most likely find a path to get you to where you need to go. And that's true in my career and in my personal life. I just really love helping people. And I think I've built my whole life on a sense of community and culture. No one gets anywhere without the village that you have behind you. And that has been something that has always humbled me throughout the years, and in its own way has really catapulted my life in so many directions of just ensuring that community is still involved. When people need connections, I've got those connections that I can send to you. If you're struggling with something, let me know what that is. Let's see what we can do to make this experience better. So that's me in a nutshell, of just loving to do what I can for the people around me.
I love that. I love that. A lot of the heroes that we have on here kind of share that same sentiment. It seems like it's a common theme of, if you care about people, then we're going to be okay, right? That's
Yeah.
It's one of the most important things that's out there. And we can't do any or everything by ourselves ever. I don't care who
No.
you are, right? Nobody can do every single thing perfectly, right? So it's definitely good to have that community and that network that's around you, for
Yeah.
sure. And people like you, right? That kind of know, come over here and we'll get this piece, and then over there and we'll
Right.
get that piece. So I love that. So talk to us a little bit about the social media journey, right? So I know you've kind of bounced around as far as a barrage of incredible jobs and careers between Sporting Kansas City, Lagunitas, a couple of that you mentioned there. But talk to us a little bit about how you've leveraged social media and used that journey to help promote whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's for a company or whether it's just helping people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think social media is, not as undervalued as it used to be, but I think it still kind of toes that line sometimes. Social media has been huge for my journey. It's something where I remember pre-internet, I remember pre-social media, all of those things, and to be able to reflect on the amount of work and the amount of things that you had to do to bypass what we can do through social media now is pretty understated. I went through the same journey as a lot of people did, of making a lot of mistakes, not being consistent in my posts, or just the quality of the post wasn't right. Maybe it wasn't for the correct audience that was in my postings. So the engagement just wasn't getting there. And it really came to a point where I actually met with a friend of mine who has been on a social media journey himself. And we sat down and kind of talked through, okay, what has worked for you? What has not worked for you? Is there a way for us to kind of, in essence, streamline the social media engagement for everyone's benefit? Because I don't want to keep posting things that no one cares about. Let's make sure I'm getting the right information out there. So I ended up actually doing a massive survey. This was about 10 or so years ago, when things were really just kind of starting to get on, of just an informational, what is it? What drives you to look at certain things? What is it that can create some sort of enticement or excitement towards a certain brand or a certain product or a certain person? And from a lot of that feedback, it was, remove the fluff. The fluff is great, but no one wants to spend time reading through or watching videos when you can just cut to the chase. Let's just cut to the chase. So that was a huge piece for me, of finally getting to a point of, yes, photo development is important and the quality of what you're posting is important, but let's also make sure that the information is actually important and it's not just something that you can roll through day in and day out. So that was a big piece for me. Like I mentioned, consistency is always important. You're going to see that if you're really looking at the metrics of what's happening in social media versus your posts. How far is that engagement reaching? Are you getting impressions past your base of followers at that point? And if not, you need to switch some things up, or you need to be more consistent. We got to a point where it was 5 days a week. Every single day during the work week, we are posting something that has value, that focuses on our services, to be able to key in to what might benefit some companies, some other people out there. Another aspect to it, which was really fun for us, was integrating our events. And how do we get people to see the fun side of what we do? And, whether it's the networking organizations, whether it's hosting nonprofits for their fundraising events, whatever it may be, kind of showing people the reality of how diverse we can be in our experience and our services was huge.
Absolutely, and kind of that entertainment value as well, right? Like, oh, they're hosting these people, right? That's I want to look at that, right? I want to see that, right? And I think that's something that we've been talking about a lot at J29, is some of the best marketing that's out there, especially when we're talking about social media, has very little, if anything, to do with what that product or service actually is, right? Like Wendy's goes so hard on Twitter, right? But they never talk about hamburgers, right? Like,
No.
or fries or anything, right? It's just like beef with Taco Bell or like
Yeah.
McDonald's or whatever, right? And it's like the best. It almost makes me want to go to Wendy's, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, they're funny. I'm gonna go spend some money there, right? So,
Exactly.
but yeah, also like when you are going to put out those things that do matter, right? Cut through it, right? Nobody wants to sit through a 15-minute video for what is 30 seconds of valuable information, right? So
Exactly. No one's got
nailed
the
it.
time for that anymore, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, especially in how fast-paced the world is. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now, Lauren, every superhero has a defining moment. What do you think yours is, not only when it comes to your career, but your life as well?
Yeah, you know, and I thought long and hard about this question before coming on because I really wanted to give a quality answer. And it was difficult because I will say, you know, my life has been incredibly diverse. And I think there is a reality to a lot of times, I think more often than not, it doesn't come down to a single moment or a single thing that happened that all of a sudden catapulted your career or your life in the trajectory that you wanted. I think it's a lot of small things that happen that kind of slowly chisel away the fat, so to speak, in your life to get you to a place where you are ready to take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of you. And that was very much my story. You know, I came from a very poor home with not a lot of opportunities, you know, with my mother having mental illness in the family. I had to grow up very, very quickly. You know, I got my first job when I was 10 years old to kind of help out the family, my first management role at 15, you know,
Wow.
and I would have never have gotten even to that point if it wasn't for a guy named Steve who decided to take an opportunity on me, saw something in me, and offered me this role that ended up, you know, getting me in front of a lot of people that continued my career and pathway. You know, it was the same with, by the time I had gotten to Lagunitas, I had done a lot of really cool things in my life, but that job over any others, I really do, you know, hats off to what you've done for my life at this point. There are so many incredible people that have been a part of that company from the beginning. And it just has such a unique perspective on life and how to build your life in career and personal. And I took a lot of those notes with me, you know, of just don't be the guy that ruins it for everybody else. Again, coming back to community, you have to think about your actions and how they're affecting those around you. You know, don't be the guy in the room that's being the negative Nancy or making people feel bad about the choices that they've made. You know, what's the point? Where are we going with that? You know, you have to have an open perspective. You have to be willing to hear people out, and you have to have people in your life that have diverse perspectives to keep you grounded. And that has consistently helped me continue on the path that I'm in. You know, I would also say it's probably one of the most dividing factors for me was I was actually married for about 8 years to a guy that really honestly just did not know how to love. And it took a long time for me to get to a place where I just decided that I deserved better and I deserved more. Ended the relationship, hardest decision of my life ever. But the journey that my life has taken since then has been the most beautiful experience that I could have ever imagined. You know, I got back into hobbies that I hadn't touched for 10 years, like art and you know, designing infrastructures for companies that I never had time for before. You know, working with breweries on the side to help them build their brand and what it looks like to essentially not take a paycheck for 5 years because of the type of industry you're in. You know, there are certain things that I just could never really spend the time on that now I have so much of that back. My life feels so much more full, and it has really opened up my eyes on what those opportunities and possibilities are, and to stop saying no. You know, don't give yourself excuses anymore. It's sure you may feel like you don't have the time or you don't have the energy or you don't have what you need to make it work. I promise you, you're wrong. If you just decide to do it and you follow that hobby path or you follow that passion, you force yourself to create some sort of drive within you, you're going to be pleasantly surprised with what comes around the corner.
I love it. I love it. I mean, both those situations that you brought up, right? Growing up in the house that you grew up in, and then a divorce, right? Could crush a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
It could crush anybody, right? unless you're solution based like you are, right? We have that positive attitude, right? And we use
Right.
that pain point or that flame, right? And just walk through it and build something beautiful out of it. So amazing. Thank you for
Exactly.
sharing those stories with us. Now,
Absolutely.
I think we kind of hit on this a little bit in the last question, but I'm going to ask you anyways. You know, obviously, heroes have attributes as well as villains. What do you think are the attributes that really kind of lean more on that hero side?
Yeah, I think, I think there's so many things that build, quote unquote, a hero, but I think there's three really that always stand out to me. And that is passion, passion being one of them. You have to care about what you're doing. If you have no reason to get up and do that thing in the morning, then why would you do it? You have to be passionate about what you do. You have to love it. Another aspect is empathy. I think it's such an undervalued reality to life. If you don't have empathy for your neighbor, your friend, your community, your business, and the people within, you're really not going to have a reason, again, to step in and help people out, or to step in and help a company out, or your neighbor, or your parent, or whoever it is that needs the help at that time. Without that empathy part of your brain, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? You're not going to have anyone at the end of your story with you. So I think those are probably two of the biggest ones. I would also say drive. It's hard to have a drive. And I think a lot of people confuse that with, when you feel like you want to do something, that's your drive. And it's not. It's consistency in choosing to get up every morning and decide that it's worth it to take the time and to do these things. And I think for a hero, if any Marvel character, any DC comic character, like you see that in them. They have a passion to the point where some of them would love to not care. Some of them would love to not be in the shoes that they are, but they do care. And they feel like it's necessary to go out of their way to help people and do the right thing. And I think that's so true to life, community, company, and everything else.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think those are the three biggest ones, right? And that drive, when you talk about that, it's really like getting up on the bad days, right? Like the worst possible day and still doing it, right? It's like, to put it in like regular terms, it's like working out, right? Or running, right? You do it even when you don't want to, right? And that definitely helps separate those heroes for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Lauren, here's the hard one. Have you had to compare Lauren Stipp to any superhero that's out there? Who would that be? And tell us why they best relate to Lauren.
So actually, I found this to be the most fun question that you posed. And I actually decided to go back to my village and ask them, what they thought. I asked a couple friends, I asked a couple mentors, a couple family members, and, I let them know kind of what was happening with this podcast and who did they think that I resembled the most. And even though there were a few different answers, the majority that came back was actually Valkyrie. Okay. Which I feel very honored by that, because there's a lot of really cool attributes to that particular superhero in the sense of like, yes, there's the super strength and there's things of that nature, but there's also the healing powers that she has. And that's something that I do really relate to, in everything that I do with every person that I engage with. I want to feel like I imparted something or was beneficial to their life. I want to feel like I am healing what I'm touching and what I'm working with throughout my life. So that was a big one for me. I think it was also the reality of like, she's got agility to the max, and I think that's true to being successful in your career, in your relationships in general, of being able to kind of not just go with the flow, but being able to navigate the waters and be in the boat with people. When you're going down, turbulent waters, you have to kind of just be willing to accept whatever happens, and then find a solution as you go. And that was a huge thing for me as well of, I see that in my day-to-day life, especially in hospitality, especially in real estate. You never know what you're going to deal with that day. And that's okay. You have to be willing to accept that and navigate it as it comes.
I love it. And it only took us 127 episodes to get Valkyrie as an answer. So congratulations on the extremely original answer. Yeah, that's awesome. And a great one too. I mean, I love that the community was like, this is it, right? Like, that's you. I love that. Lauren Stipp, thank you so much for coming on the show. You've been absolutely awesome. Where can people find you? How can they, figure out about Serendipity Labs, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Gino. This has been an absolute pleasure to be on this podcast. And yeah, there's a lot of places that you can find us. You know, you can go to the Serendipity Labs website. You can go to my LinkedIn page, Lauren Stipp. You know, I'm more than happy to build a friendship, grab virtual coffee, whatever it is, to chat, see what I can do for you. And then we are very active on our social pages with Facebook and Instagram through our Kansas City Overland Park page. So always feel free to message us, reach out. You know, we post all of our events that are open to the public and are free to the public for you to come, see our space, have some fun, and find out what we can do.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, free networking is always a good thing for
Yep.
sure. I love that. Love that. Well, Lauren, thank you again for coming on the show. It was absolutely my pleasure to have you. And everybody out there, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Hey, are we still live? Hey guys, we're still live. Hey guys, this is Kevin Kwok, founder of J29 Creative Group. So who are we? We're a marketing agency here in Kansas City. We're all about a holistic approach to marketing that builds your brand and nurtures online community. But to be honest with you, you guys don't care.